What's going on, everyone? I've got another video here, a whiteboard video today. I've been meaning to do this one for a long time, and so I'm finally going to do it. I want to talk to everybody and clear up some of the misconceptions or the misperceptions or whatever you want to call it about what an administrator is and what an engineer is, okay? Because there are so many job titles out there that in the industry that are very confusing, and companies mix these up all the time. So when you're looking for work and you see a job role that says network administrator or network engineer or systems administrator, it's a little bit confusing, okay? And the reason it's confusing is because companies confuse them. So a lot of times you'll see systems engineer and network engineer as the job title, but they're really actually doing administrative work, okay? But then you also have the network engineer and system engineer titles that are legitimate, all right? So I want to break down the differences between the two, just so that everyone has a clear understanding of what the two do, but also know that a lot of times these are kind of reversed, and so you have people that do both of these jobs, right? And I've kind of mentioned that before in other videos when I've talked about the difference of system administrator and network administrator. I have a previous video that describes the differences between those two. But let's today talk about what an administrator does versus an engineer, and let's clear it up a little bit, okay? So first off, let's talk about an administrator, right? The administrator is the one that actually does the work of keeping everything online and alive, okay? So you are responsible for making sure that all the systems are up and running at all times at the best of your ability, okay? So that's your sole responsibility, right? You are in charge of maintaining those systems, okay? And when you see the term system administrator or systems administrator, what they're referring to are all of the servers in the environment, okay? And so that's really what they're talking about. Now, sometimes it could be, you could also include, desktops and from the user perspective, but mainly the system administrator is dealing with the back-end systems that are your servers, okay? And the server is just a big computer that runs everything, okay? For just to keep it simple, right? So these people are in charge of maintaining servers, which includes, patching and updating hardware components. So patching means updates from the OS vendor. So in most cases, you're going to find Microsoft server installed on the servers, okay? And so Microsoft they're always releasing patches and updates on a monthly basis. And so part of your responsibility is to make sure that your servers are up to date. Same thing with Linux. Your job is to make sure that the OS is up to date. It's got all its patches on it, and I don't know what the exact verbiage is for patches, if there are any on Linux, so excuse my ignorance. My friends Dan and Tamika, who I've done interviews with on Linux, can probably chime in on this and add a little bit more, but you get the idea, okay? Updating hardware components, okay, which I kind of mentioned down here, changing out hardware. So if say a hard drive in the server goes bad, and sometimes it'll be under warranty by the hardware vendor and they'll come in and actually do it. But a lot of times, us as systems administrator will actually open the box and start changing components, okay? It'll be a hard drive, it'll be RAM, seldomly a motherboard, could be a network card, any kind of component inside the box. Sometimes we do that work, okay? The operating system, which I kind of touched on here with patching, we're responsible for that, okay? And that includes installing the operating system, updating it, and keeping it online, and make sure that everything is running smooth with it. Migrating to new hardware, okay? What that means is After several years, 3 to 4 or 5 years, the company's going to swap out hardware because of the evolution of hardware, and so we have to keep up with the times. So part of our responsibility as a system administrator or administrator is to migrate from one server to another, so physical platform. So we got to move the operating system over to a different piece of hardware. Again, changing out hardware, which I touched on. Data center responsibilities, okay? So what that means is that typically in a larger organization, you might have a server room on site at the company where where everything sits, okay? Small companies are going to have everything pretty much local, on site, really no data center. But the large corporations have data centers around the country and sometimes around the globe, depending on how big they are, okay? And a data center is nothing more than a localized center. It's just a big space with nothing but server racks that house and home all of your equipment, and that includes routers, switches, servers, and anything hardware, okay? So it's our responsibility, again, as a network administrator, systems administrator, to basically maintain what's going on at the data center. So sometimes we have to make visits to those data centers, and again, you'll be doing that if you're changing out hardware, okay? So we can't forget that the data center and what goes on there is our responsibility as well. Tier 2 and Tier 3 support for your peers and the help desk, okay? So again, if you're a big organization and there's a help desk, you as the administrator are going to serve as that next point of contact or that escalation point for those people that need help on the front lines there. So you'll be getting questions and tickets or whatever, however your system works there internally. So you'll be helping those folks out, and also you'll be working with everyone else that's in the IT department. Okay, so part of keeping everything online is the communication with other folks in different areas of the IT department. All right, and I'm speaking on a level of a big scale company that has a very big IT organization and multiple people all doing different roles, okay? We actually have to congregate, we have to come together, we have to meet, we have to talk about different things, and we have to basically plan, okay? So we have to have that ability to work as a team environment. So that's pretty much what the administrator does. The administrator is basically doing all the day-to-day operations on the systems, okay? So let's flip over to an engineer, okay? Now, an engineer, by definition, if you look it up, okay, an engineer is someone that creates solutions, okay? They are the ones that are basically planning, designing, configuring, and implementing, all right? So let's say that you've got a network engineer that comes on site, and what they are going to do is they're going to sit down with the chief technology officer and all the team, and they are going to put together a plan of exactly what needs to happen. So if it's a brand new network, they're going to plan it all out. Okay, they're going to say, we've got this many locations, we need this many routers and switches and all that kind of stuff that comes along with networking. And then they're going to put together a plan. They're going to design that plan. So they're going to put it all together, maybe like in a Visio diagram. They're going to write it out. They're going to design the entire infrastructure, okay? Then they're going to configure it. So that's when all the equipment comes in and they start programming it and configuring it. And then they implement. Okay, so they actually implement it into production. Okay, after everything has been tested, they feel comfortable with what's going on, they're going to implement it. And then from there out, they'll just be like a consultant, okay? And they will consult with that. They don't necessarily do the administrative work because that's the job of an administrator. Going back to what I said earlier, sometimes you'll have a network engineer that's actually responsible for administrating. So that person's wearing a couple different hats, okay? And that happens more often than not. in this field, okay? Especially in smaller organizations that don't have big teams. Even in the big environments, you know, they're just, you know, the companies these days, they're squeezing everything they can out of us. And so a lot of times we have to wear those multiple hats. But I'm going to say that I'm going to use Cisco as an example because they specialize in engineering, okay? Network engineering and that type of stuff. And those guys actually do this work. You know, they come in and they do the consulting and all that, and they create the solution for the customer. And then they'll come back and they'll, you know, consult if they need. They'll consult with the administrator and say, okay, well, I feel like this is what needs to happen to get this working. And so they don't really do a lot of troubleshooting per se, but they have the ability to do it because they know it, they understand it, they have the knowledge, okay? So that's mainly it. That's what these folks do. That's what you'll be doing if you choose to go in that direction. But just understand that when you're looking for work, okay, don't go by the title that they put, the job title, okay? So say for instance you're on Indeed.com or CareerBuilder or Dice or Monster, whatever site you're on, and you're just cruising through the listings, right? And you see the job title, don't skip over it just because of what the title says. Click on the link and read what the actual description of the job is, because I can almost guarantee you that if it says systems engineer or network engineer, there'll be a lot of these duties that are involved as well, okay? And that goes back to what I said about wearing multiple hats, okay? So don't skip over them. Read every single job that you come by, okay? Don't skip it if it says engineer, okay? Because a lot of times, you know, look, my title has engineer in it, and I can tell you right now, I am not an engineer, okay? I am not an engineer. I am mainly a administrator type person, troubleshoot, okay? I'm not a solutions designer. An engineer to me are mechanical engineers, electrical engineers, computer engineers. Those are the people that have gone to school. They've got that degree. You know what I'm saying? Those are the people that are like architectural engineers, the people that build bridges. That's hardcore engineering in my perspective. But the IT world seems to get that so mixed up, and I don't know why, okay? So anyways, I really hope that helps. If I'm missing anything, if there's any engineers that are out there that can contribute to this video, I'd appreciate any input. Feel free to drop a comment below. I'm open to suggestions, recommendations, and comments and all that stuff. But if anyone has any questions, you know, drop the questions below. And thanks for watching. We'll catch up pretty soon. I've got some more videos on the way. If you haven't downloaded my free resource guide, it's down below as well. Again, thank you for watching. I appreciate every single one of you that comes to this channel. If you're new, I want to welcome you here. And also, if you haven't joined the Facebook group where we're all kind of coming together and to help each other, I'll put the link down below as well. So we'll catch you on the next video. Hope you're doing awesome. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.